Alright, hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Tea Time Chat. Today we're going to take another look at this Univox hollow body, and we're going to have some tea and check out how this guitar sounds. So let's see what we've got. So up today is more of my green tea. This is, I brought this back from Savannah, Georgia last year. This is green tea with a hint of strawberry. It's quite nice. Good for when you want something calming, don't need any caffeine. So let's talk about the guitar. So I've had this guitar for, I don't know, over a year I suppose, maybe. And I bought this out of a guy's pickup truck. Like, he was parked downtown trying to sell the guitar. I happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, and he just about mugged me to make me buy this thing. It was one of those, he wouldn't really take no for an answer, and I didn't really want this because it was disgusting. It was just awful. So I finally ended up giving him like $7 for it, and then he went on his way, and then I had this hunk of disgusting, just travesty of like immense proportions. But the guitar was in pretty good shape for being a horrible train wreck. Nothing was broken on it. The neck was fine, no cracks, no breaks, fingerboard, no frets were missing. The tuners, all the tuners were completely gone except like there was half of one of them left. The bridge saddle was there, but the bridge base was there, but the actual saddles were gone. The tailpiece was there. All the electronics were there, but the finish was bad. There was like dirt that had been baked into the finish, and the body this is completely hollow. This is not like an ES335 that has a sustain block or a center block. This is completely hollow. Very thin body, as you can see. The body was full of like acorns and just all kinds of nasty stuff that I guess a squirrel had been using it. So I went about trying to get this thing put back together, and so the first thing I had to do was take everything out, take the neck off, and work on the finish. The finish was essentially ruined. I had to do wet sanding and polishing, like 2 or 3 different kinds of wet sanding and rubbing compound polish to get the finish to be nice again. And the good news is the damage to the finish was just damage to the clear coat. So the wood itself wasn't actually damaged. I don't know. You can see a little bit the finish. It looks really nice. I don't think this is going to come across in the camera, but the finish has some checking to it. Particularly down here by the volume and tone knobs. Maybe you can see a little bit of the checking, some cracks in the finish. But I was able to get it polished up pretty nice, and it's very beautiful, very, very nice. In terms of the wood, I think it's a laminate. I think it's this was not right, like this is not an expensive guitar. It's a laminate top and back, but it is quite thin. Like, you can definitely tell the pressure on the body with the strings on and with the strings off. So it does have a good bit of flex to it. So let's see. So once I refinished it, of course, I had to put new tuning machines on it, and these are just some basic open gear tuners. So you can see there, they're just, this is, you know, these were just very cheap. The original tuners, what was left of them, you could tell they were open gear. So I went with that as well. Whoops. So you can see this is a bolt-on neck. So here's the neck plate. It says Japan on it. Okay, so replace the tuners. All of the electronics, the pickups, the pots, and the knobs are original. I did have to replace the switch and the jack. Both of those were toast. So I've got a three-way Les Paul type with the so-called poker chip, which the poker chip was not an original, was not originally on the guitar. So let's see, and so I also had to replace the bridge saddle. This is a rosewood saddle. You can see the base of the bridge is rosewood. We've also got some thumb wheels to adjust the height. Got the trapeze tailpiece, which I polished up quite nicely. This is a free-floating bridge, by the way. It's just sitting on there. I actually have very faint pencil marks on the top to align the bridge for proper intonation. But so this is a very nice rosewood bridge. You can see how it is compensated for intonation. I spent probably like a few hours cutting this bridge down as thin as I could get it for the action, because this was obviously meant for something like not this guitar, right? But so we've got that, and then so these pickups, these are actual single coils. They're not humbuckers, despite what they look like. So they're single coils, and they are actually quite microphonic. We'll do a demonstration of that maybe in a few minutes, but they're very microphonic, which I guess is good for a guitar like this, for a hollow body, so you can capture, some of the acoustic resonance of it. Whereas with a normal potted pickup, you're just getting the strings. As the strings vibrate, it induces a electric charge here in the pickups. As it moves through, as they vibrate in the magnetic field, it induces like an alternating current. It has nothing to do with sound. So those people that are like all about tone wood and whatever, they're misunderstanding kind of how pickups work. Anyway, so that's, let's see, so we've got, again, this is real binding. There's a chip taken out of it right there, and you can see this is actual real binding. This is not painted on. Based on talking and research, I think this guitar is probably late 60s to early 70s. So it's pretty decently aged. And it's amazing it survived all that time, just being in a barn or whatever. Also, it has a 0 fret. You can see right here, 0 fret. So I was able to get the action pretty decent. I did have to shim this neck. There's some shims in here because of the height of the bridge there. So I had to shim it and get the action pretty nice. So let's see a little bit about. Actually, I'm going to get a tea refill here real quick. And like I said, I really hated this guitar at first because it was just so disgusting. But I was able to get it cleaned up quite nicely, get it playing pretty decently, and it sounds great. Again, some idiot painted Gibson on the headstock, and I haven't figured out how to get that off yet. There probably would have been a nameplate up here. There's a couple holes, and apparently there was a metal nameplate that was stuck in with pins. But so anyway, so let's hear a little bit about how it sounds. Right now, right now I'm on the bridge pickup. I'm running through my normal setup with the Fender amp on the clean channel. As always, the reverb is set to 10. So that's kind of the bridge pickup. Another thing I should mention, this guitar doesn't have much sustain at all. I guess that's the way of hollow bodies, and especially this rosewood bridge. It's not, it's not like a thick metal bridge that's going to contribute to sustain. But again, I think it sounds pretty nice. Oh, another thing I'll mention is I took a marker and put some position marker dots on the top of the neck because it didn't have any, and that's a major pet peeve of mine because I always play standing up, and it makes it really difficult if you don't have position markers along the top. Also, the neck, you can see it's very thick. Very thick. It's got a finish on it, just like Gibsons do, and which is not my favorite thing. It's very much of a baseball bat. I guess, I don't know neck shapes. Maybe it's a C shape or whatever. So that was the bridge pickup. This is going to be both pickups, bridge and neck, which is my favorite position. Pretty much in every guitar I have that has two pickups, I like to play in the middle position. So it's obviously going to be a little bassier and a little darker because I've got the neck pickup going along with it. Alright, so let's hear the neck pickup. So that's that. One thing I should probably say is, the volume and tone, I don't think they work that well. I can turn the volume pot down and it doesn't seem to have much of an effect unless I turn the tone pot down too. Which is fine because I don't really use that anyway. I've got my nice Morley volume pedal here that I can adjust if I want. I'm also not one of those guys that plays like with the volume on the guitar, I have two channels on my amp, so I have no reason to use that to adjust gain levels or anything like that. Alright, so let's try something else. I'm going to put a little bit of delay on here because this is obviously what this is for. This is be like a good, oldies guitar, rockabilly. So we can hear, if you want to get the whole sound, we can do like a 1-6-4-5. That sounds quite nice. Yeah, so that's how that sounds. We're still on the neck pickup. Let's go back to the middle. So here we go. So yeah, so it sounds good. Let's see, so I've got, so these are 11s actually, because it's kind of a hollow body. I wanted to have some nice thick strings on it, as is per the usual for this kind of guitar. So it's a little bit hard to shred on because the strings are so beefy, and I play 9s on all my electrics. So there's that. So let's go and hear some overdrive sounds. Start off with a kind of a lower gain setting. Probably also turn the delay off here. Alright, so we'll start back in the bridge pickup. I've got the gain on about 3.5 or 4. So that's the bridge pickup. Let's hear the middle. So there we got that. Quite nice. So here's the neck. So there we have that. And go back to my favorite, the middle. got that. I'm actually going to go and crank the gain up a little bit. This is actually handles it pretty well, and it's got a nice heavy sound because it's, you know, a very dark guitar tonally speaking. So I'm going to crank the gain up to maybe like 7 or so. And interesting, I've got my MXR Smart Gate running, and it's like completely quiet. It's pretty cool. So I have my camera on a music stand, and apparently it's shaking the camera, which is, you know, all right. Yeah, so. So it handles the higher gain settings pretty well. Yeah, so there's that. I think we've kind of gone through all the sounds at this point. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll go ahead and sign off and get this thing edited and uploaded. I'm out of tea anyhow. So I hope you enjoyed this. Feel free to like and maybe subscribe. And I'll be using this guitar hopefully in some more videos soon. Have a great day, kiddos.